Hey guys, and today I will be disassembling my bike and cleaning it because, as you can see, she's a little bit nasty. As you can see, I've already taken the bars off. Basically, with the handlebars and the stem, it'll get nice and dirty up in here, right on the inside of the stem. So what you want to do is you want to go, grab your paper towels, right here, and set these bars down over here. Pull the paper towel off. And then you want to go over here and grab your bars, and you just want to clean it. Right down here by the stem area. As you can see, it's a little dirty. Anyways, we're going to set the bars down for now. And hopefully we can pull more dirt and grime off the stem than the bars. So, go over here. You're going to want to clean all up on the inside of the stem. As you can see, the stem was nice and disgusting. So, now that we have that done, we're going to move on to the next step in cleaning the bike process. And I'll go ahead and turn the bike so that y'all can see it. Now what you want to do, you want to grab another paper towel. You just want to go get anything that can wipe down the frame. For me, it's actually not quick detailer, it's just a bottle of water. Just want to wet your paper towel. Come over here, give your frame a nice wipe down. Under it, over it, everywhere on your frame. Get all the cracks and crevices. Up there, down there, up here and around, down here and around. You just want to get your forks too. You want to get everything as clean as possible with this wet paper towel. You can use a rag or whatever. I really don't care. It's up to you, as long as it gets the job done. Alright, so that is the end of this part of the time lapse. Now, what you want to go ahead and do is you want to grab a size 6 Allen key. I mean, for me it's size 6, for other people it might be different. I don't have a hammer to break the bolt loose, so rip socket wrench, and yeah, you go over here. I strongly prefer that you do your non-drive side because it just makes everything a whole lot easier. So just want to, as you can see, that bolt was pretty tight. Now you want to go over here and you want to go ahead and break this. And try not to hit your fucking finger, because that hurt. Now that one's broken loose. Sorry about my little brother screaming in the background. He does that. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and this compression cap right here, you want to go ahead and take that all the way out, because that's what's going to allow you to take your crank off and then take your crankshaft out, or your spindle, whatever you want to call it. I just call it a crankshaft because it's easier. Now that this is out, this little compression cap right here, it's about that long. It's pretty simple. All you got to do, make sure this is loosened all the way. Now with me, I mean, different people have different amounts of spacers before it comes to the seal for your mid-bottom bracket bearings. I mean, there's also different types of bearings. You have American, Spanish bottom bracket, and you have mid-bottom bracket. I'm not going to go too in depth on that because there's other videos for that. So, you go in here, you're going to pop your bearing seal right off. This is it's like a spacer, but it just prevents dirt and grime from getting to the bearing. And then I have two spacers. They're just like washers, but really small. I have two of those there. So now, as you can see, my spindle is now exposed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the whole thing off. And all the spacers on the other side, along with the sprocket. It's all coming off. Alright, so I don't really like to loosen this side crank because I really just don't feel like it. I don't feel the need to. Just makes things easier. But right now, here's all the other spacers from the other side. As you can see, they're quite disgusting. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab a paper towel. This is the one thing that you really, really do not want to use water on, is your spindle, because it makes it rust. Rust makes it to where it doesn't go inside of the mid-bottom bracket bearings. It's all bad. So just want to take your paper towel like this, wrap it around your spindle, and you want to clamp your hand down around the paper towel as tight as possible. You just want to spin the spindle back and forth. And then when you get to these splines on it, you just want to grab it, pull it around like that. As you can see, the spindle is somewhat decently cleaner. The gray is wear marks from my bearings, but anyways, this is all. That's all the nastiness that came off my spindle. Now what you want to do, take this same paper towel, just roll it over or get a new one. I really don't care. And take it, hold your bearing still, and you're going to go around the main bearing seal. like so. Go in there, get on the inside, clean that off, and then what you want to do is you want to do the same for the other side. You just want to go over here. I know you can't see it, but you grab your bearing, hold it still, clean the main seal off, get inside the hole, clean that off, make sure it's spinning right. Yeah, it's the nastiness that came off of that one. So, trash. Now what you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to make sure that you have all your spacers lined up correctly. So, I'm going to show you the order that mine go in. This right here is a different type of spacer. This is the spacer that goes in between your sprocket and your spindle. Now the inside obviously goes on the spindle and your sprocket sits right on that notch. So this one right here is what we're going to do first. I might just pick up the bike stand and bring it over here. Make it easier for you guys to see. Trying not to crush my toes in the process, because that would just be bad. Alright, so hopefully now you guys can see this. This is my drive side bearing. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this spacer right here, the sprocket spacer, and you want to make sure to have the open end of it right here facing towards your crank, towards your drive side crank. So you want to go ahead and throw it onto the sprocket like so. Hopefully it stays there. And then we're going to go ahead, bring the sprocket up. Probably just going to pull it off the chain for the time being. And you're going to take this and line it up on there like so. And then we're going to throw it over that notch, put the sprocket spacer in, and boom, you have your sprocket on your crank. Now, for the rest of the spacers, I have this one which goes behind the sprocket spacer. Then, I lost one of my other spacers, so I have to use this one for now. Throw that on there. This'll the drive side bearing seal is always going to be the thinnest one, because you have your sprocket to replace where the other spacers would be on the other side. So you want to make sure it has a little bevel on it. You want to make sure that bevel is facing outward, and then it's got a crease on the inside, and that crease is going to be facing towards your bearing. So you just want to go ahead. There's also a spacer inside of your mid-bottom bracket, and that makes sure the bearings don't implode on each other. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold that spacer in place, throw that on there like so, and then you're going to go to the other side. Now you guys can't see it, but whatever. Go to the other side, and then I'll turn it around for you guys. Now, we're on this side. So, once again, you have your seal. There's going to be a bevel or just a flange that sticks out. And then there's the inside, which has a notch. Notch faces inward. And then that's on. Now you want to take your spacers, however many you have, throw those on there. And you want to grab your non-drive crank. You want to put that on there. Rotate it a little bit. And then you want to take your compression cap and throw that in here. Basically, all the compression cap does is it compresses, so it makes sure that there's none of that going on. It's all your compression cap does. And, you know, also keeps your cranks on. So, you know, it'd be pretty bad if you're riding and your cranks fell off. Now you're just going to screw this all the way in. You want to make sure that this compression cap is extremely tight. The way I do it is I load it in there, like so. I grab the Allen key and I just rotate that. You want to use as much force as possible to tighten this. And then what I do is I grab my socket wrench and I'll just take it and I'll hammer it. I hammer it clockwise to make sure it's tight. Rotate it around. Then you definitely want to make sure that this is tight. Because that right there is what keeps your crank from having wobble if the compression cap ever comes loose. It's also what's going to keep your crank on if your compression cap falls off. Which it shouldn't fall off because you just tightened it down with a hammer and an Allen key. One thing that I'm not going to show you guys in this video because, you know, I'm getting new cranks and new mid-bottom bracket bearings anyway, is when you have your spindle out, what you want to do is you want to re-grease it. You want to put an extra light coating of grease on there, and then you also want to put a little bit of grease on your compression cap bolt and your other compression bolt, the thing that clamps the crank down to the spindle. Once again, just a little bit of tightness. Get all the work in for you. Like so. That gap will close. Then, just like so, that's that, clean. Now, you can go over here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Hopefully you can. And you want to lay your chain onto your sprocket. Nice and tight. My back rim has wobble. That's going to get fixed too. Now that that's done, your mid-bottom bracket is cleaned up. I've already cleaned my rear hub, my front hub, my rear rim, and my front rim, as you guys saw. Not quite sure how we're going to clean the pedals. I think we'll just leave those, because why not? I've already cleaned the stem up here. The headset bearings are fine. Basically how you do that is, I'll make another video on how to clean your headset bearings, but for right now, should be fine. So, I'm just going to take this, rotate, now what we're going to go ahead and do is, I have my stem cap and stem bolts all in my pocket right now. And here's a really cool trick. So if your bars are slipping and you're experiencing the same issue over and over and over again and your stem bolts are extremely tight, all you have to do is take two of these, which are pennies, and you lay them flat up in here with a little bit of penny sticking out, like so. Then you're going to go ahead and give me a minute, the mail's here. Now you're going to set your bars back up in here. I like to have mine a little bit forward. Make sure the space between, well, the smooth side and the smooth side is even. Then I have a rant stem, so I'm going to make sure the rant words are facing me, just because, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. Now, there's a key thing with tightening your stem down. Basically, there's, as you can hopefully see, there's a space here and there's a space here. Turn it so that you guys can see. Now these two spaces, in order for you to not seriously damage your bars or anything else on your bike, or strip these stem bolts out, is you want to make sure that space and that space are perfectly even when you're tightening. If they're not even, then, well, serious injury could occur in the middle of your riding. Please stay. Sorry, I dropped the bolt. Now you want to go over here, and 99.9% of the time your stem bolts are going to be a size 6 Allen key. I'm not quite sure how other brands make their bikes, but I know a lot of other bikers and all of their stem bolts are size 6 Allen keys. Not sure why, but I guess that's just how they make the bikes. Now, as you can see, keeping an even space, I'm going to have my bars just a little bit forward because it's just how I like my bars. It's probably right about there. And I'm going to give it a little bit of tightness. A little bit of tightness over here. Like so. Even space. Yes, sir. Go over here, lightly tighten that one, and then heavily tighten that one. That's just how I do it. And basically, there's alternating forces on your stem. So, obviously, physics and whatever universal laws there is. Basically, your stem cap is one solid piece of metal, right? It's not bending. It's not going anywhere, because it's a stem cap. So when you tighten one bolt down, it can be loose as can be, but when you tighten the other one down, this one gets tight, see? It all becomes tight. And you want to go ahead and you want to cross pattern this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. And do like a crisscross pattern in it. I would use a hammer or something, or if you just have a really big Allen key. I don't have much space on mine, so I would use like a hammer or something and just go in here, tighten that up, and go to this other side, tighten that up, go to this side, tighten that up, and go to this side, and tighten that up. As you can see, still even. I made sure to make sure that was even. Bars are spinning smooth. There's no headset bearing play. And then, yeah. Now, I like to wax my frame because it just gives it an overall great look. But you don't have to if you don't want to. If you guys enjoyed my video on how to clean the most of your bike, drop a like, comment below, subscribe, do whatever you gotta do, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
To breathe, but that's alright. Hush.